everyone, Ace of Clay here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to another sculpting video. If you're new here, I'm a sculptor and every week I make a new sculpture, so be sure to like and subscribe so that you don't miss any future videos. In today's video, I'm creating my own original character that I've named the Mother. Now this video is part of a series where I've been creating my own original mutant every week, so if you haven't seen the previous ones like the Ice Cream Man, the Photographer, the Seamstress, and the Farmer, be sure to check them out. I've linked them in the info card section above and in the description box below. You gotta meet them before you watch this one, or maybe check them out after you watch this one. Okay, so for the Mother, when I approached this mutant, I really wanted to create something that was very different from the other designs. I wanted her to be the least human looking character, and I definitely think I've succeeded. Now, just to give you a little bit of background on the character before we get into sculpting, I wanted the Mother to be this sort of character that gives birth to these sort of goblin demon things that she sets free all over the world that cause all sorts of trouble. And spoiler alert, the Farmer, which is the previous mutant in the series, is actually one of these goblins. Now the Mother is not the main mutant in the series, but she is way more powerful than the other mutants that I've released so far, and you will find out way more about her as we get into the video. So without further ado, if you want to see me bring the Mother to life, then hit like, hit subscribe, be sure to check me out on Instagram and Twitter. I'm at Ace of Clay. I'd love to see you there. Now let's get started. Alright, let's get started. I think I want to make her pretty large, so I'm going to bulk out her legs and torso from one piece of aluminum foil, and then I'm going to go over that with ultralight just so I don't use a ton of ultralight. And I don't really have to do too much wire on this just because she's going to be wearing a dress and she doesn't have a base or anything, so we'll be able to take a couple of shortcuts in that area. Alright, so we've got this sort of like tadpole-y looking shape going on here, so I think I'm okay with it. Let's start covering this in ultralight and see where it goes. And then just to secure the clay a little bit more, I'm going to put a nice little drizzling of bacon bond over the surface, or should I say oven bake clay adhesive. Alright, now let's put that ultralight on, get that surface nice and even. Alright, so here's the basic shape that I want. I like it. She's pretty big, but she's actually the shortest mutant so far. I just went and compared her to the other ones, and she's actually pretty short, which is fine. To make her any bigger would just be, I feel like, a waste of materials. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to poke a hole at her arms, add a little skewer for where her head's going to be. Now her head is not going to have a neck, at least how I visualize it now. It's just going to sort of stick out from this lump here. Alright, it looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and get her in the oven. Alright, now that she's baked and completely cooled down, we've got our nice underlying surface, and we're going to cover this in clay. For this project, I will be using Super Sculpey Original. Alright, now that the whole thing's covered, I'm going to go ahead and just smooth the surface out a little bit, and then we're going to start adding some folds and wrinkles. I want her to have just this long robe on that kind of just falls to the ground. Nothing crazy, keep it relatively simple. Her face is going to have the most detail and of course be the focal point, so I want the body to be pretty secondary, just a bunch of drapey fabric. So let's go ahead and do that now.
The Mother, a powerful mutant with the ability to release demons throughout the world. She acts as a vessel to these tormented souls as she is one herself, the strongest one that has the ability to control them all. More on the Mother later in the video.
Alright, so now I have the body to a point that I like. I'm going to start her head, and I'm not really sure where I want to take this. I think I want to just put a big face right here, and then have a bunch of her little faces, or her children, I guess you could say, sticking out of her back. So we're just going to start with this nice big troll face, and then kind of add some details as we go. So let's see what happens.
She has the face of a withered, elderly woman with skin so dry, cracked and blistered that it resembles tree bark. Her long, gangly arms sway back and forth as she slowly makes her way, wearing a tattered black dress. The moans of the creatures in her back can be heard clearly as she passes along, letting out her own low grumble. More on the mother soon.
Alright, so I am very happy with how her face looks, and I'm going to go ahead and add the other faces on her back, and then we'll kind of see where that takes us, and then we'll figure out how we're going to have this fabric wrap around her. Let's just keep going with these faces, get those done, and then we'll see what happens with the rest.
The creatures that reside within her body all have been conceived by a piece of her dark soul. They mature from skeletal newborns to fully grown adults before leaving her body by pulling out from her flesh in a supernatural episode. To be continued later in the video.
Alright, so I'm happy with that amount of faces that I've added so far. I might put a couple more back here, but I'm really curious to see how I'm going to make this robe work, because she's kind of just a stump and I want it to make sense. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by adding the clay to the upper arms. I'm not going to finish the arms, but I'm just going to do the upper arms, and then I'm going to try to figure out how this fabric is going to go around her. I kind of just want it to be just wrapped around her loosely, nothing formal. Like, it's not an actual piece of clothing, it's just fabric. At least that's how I was thinking. But let's just play around and see what happens.
The mother does not communicate with anyone aside from her thoughts being passed telepathically to the creatures. She tells them what to do and where to go. Once they are released, they complete the task that she has asked of them, and they die. A thick black trail of tar is released as she walks. More on the mother soon.
Alright, now for the next step, since the dress is looking pretty nice, I'm happy with it, I'm going to make the rest of the arms and then her big hands. I want them to look somewhat like frog-like, so we'll see how that goes. I think I only want to give her 3 fingers as well. Not saying that's like a frog thing, that's just what I envision for her. So let's get started and, again, see what happens. Alright, well that looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and finish off the other arm off camera. Alright, those arms and hands are looking pretty good. I'm happy with them. Time to bake her, and then we'll come back and paint. Be right back. Alright, we are back, and she is ready for paint. All the paints that I'm going to use to paint the mother are Folk Art brand matte acrylics. Let's get started with her skin.
It is believed the mother is hundreds of years old, but at this time it is uncertain. She can be found lingering in the dark, passing through towns and cities at night, releasing her demons. To be continued.
And she's done! The mother is complete. Let me know what you think of her in the comments. Okay, I'm gonna tell you right now, I think she might be my new favorite mutant. I need to stare at her for a little bit longer, I think, get to know her a little better, and form a relationship with her like I've done with these other guys over the past several weeks. They've been staring at me every day while I work on things, and I think I need to do that with her too, but I really enjoyed making her. I love her concept. I love these demon souls and stuff like poking out of her back. I like the dress, I like her creepy hands, and I just like how she turned out, and I really like how she looks, nothing like the other mutants. So I thought that was cool. So all in all, I really hope you enjoyed her, and of course, let me know what you think. I really want to know. And as always, thank you so much for watching and being here. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and then follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Ace of Clay. I'm also on TikTok, so check me out there. Check out my Facebook group, Snakes of Clay, if you like sculpting too, or just looking at art, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.